Guys, I'm not quite sure we've ever seen anything quite like what it is that we are seeing from Nikko Remigio. He was on the practice squad this season. He was on the practice squad last season as an undrafted rookie free agent out of Fresno State, and now he looks like a Pro Bowl return man. And while and whereas having a Pro Bowl return man come up off of your practice squad is not necessarily all that odd a thing to happen. It happens from time to time. Practice squad guys can be the squirrely ones on the roster, and those are the types of guys that normally excel at special teams. Nikko Remigio wasn't activated until 12-9, December 9th, versus the Chargers. And now he is the return man heading into the Super Bowl for these Kansas City Chiefs. And he has looked electric. He has looked dynamic. He has looked phenomenal as a punt returner. And where I want to go with this video is to ask the question at the end, what does this mean? Where does he go from here? In an article titled 11 Winners and One Big Loser from the Chiefs' AFC title win over the Bills on Arrowhead Pride from Matt Stagner, we get the following intro before a snippet about Remigio himself. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. For the third straight season, it never gets old, guys. For the fifth time in 6 years, with a chance to make history. They earned that right by beating the Buffalo Bills for the fourth time in the last 5 postseasons. They earned it by overcoming the second best quarterback in the NFL. They earned it with fourth down stops, 2-point conversion stops, and easy execution on offense. It must be absolutely miserable not to be a Chiefs fan at this point. And we've seen it here. We've seen it and heard it all week. This was a complete team win by a championship franchise that knows exactly what it takes, and they got it done. How can I call anyone in this building a loser this week? Well, I should not have copied and pasted that sentence. It has nothing to do with this actual article, but he doesn't actually get around to calling anyone on the Chiefs a loser. I'm just going to go into it. Winners, one of the winners listed here, Nikko Remigio, kick returner Nikko Remigio. When the intro to this article starts talking about complete team wins, a kick returner, a punt returner are sort of the small contributing factors that you would normally hope to see on a full team win. The snippet about Remigio reads as such. The Chiefs only forced one returnable punt. Remigio took it 41 yards to set up a first-half touchdown drive. He bounced back from what looked like an injury and didn't miss a single return, averaging 26.8 yards on kickoff returns. The former undrafted free agent has become a reliable playmaker and special teams as of late, and nothing turns a playoff game quite like a big return. Guys, I think at this point, the Eagles are going to have to consider kicking away from Nikko Remigio. His return abilities are simply too good. He has shown over just the past couple weeks the fact that returning punts can lead to big plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, something that hasn't necessarily or particularly been true for these Kansas City Chiefs in quite some time, but Nikko Remigio is frequently doing this for the team. So I wanted to I mentioned earlier this kind of the squirrely guys who are pretty good at special teams. Often the squirrely guys are like 150 pounds and they run a 4.36 40. I want to take a look at Nikko Remigio, the guy who is making these waves on special teams for a very specific reason. Height 5'9", weight 187, decent weight for a 5'9" frame, 29 3/4 inch arms, nearly 30 inch arms at 5'9", a 4.56 40-yard dash with a 1.57 10-yard split. a 20-yard shuttle of 4.33, a 3-cone drill of 7.2, a 36-inch vertical leap, a 10-foot 1-inch broad jump, and 19 reps on the bench press. Is this a particularly impressive athlete? Well, you could go to the YMCA on the corner and find about 5 different guys who meet this athletic profile. Doesn't matter. Nikko Remigio is good at football. During the course of this season, he played just 39 offensive snaps. In his one start, appearing in 5 games, the last game of the season, he also got 42 special teams reps. Again, worth noting, he was not activated until December 9th versus the Chargers. He has been in the NFL for about a month and a half. He is becoming, I have to imagine the Eagles will kick away from Nikko Remigio. On the season, he has 11 punt returns for 104 yards, including a 25-yard long during the regular season, a 9.5 yard per return average. In the playoffs, he has 2 returns for 52 yards, a 41-yard long, a 26-yard average. On kickoff returns during the regular season, he returned 11 for 295 yards with a 36-yard long, a 26.8 yard average. That 26.8 yard average is right around a good number. Maybe not elite, maybe not great, but a good number. You catch the ball on the goal line, you're starting at the 27. In the playoffs, 7 returns, 217 yards, a 31-yard average, including that 63-yard long. So, what has he done in the receiving game? Well, in the one game that he played with the Chiefs backups against a playoff team's starters in the Broncos, he was targeted 6 times, came up with 2 receptions for 48 yards, and both of his receptions were for first downs. He had a 24-yard per reception average, just, however, a 33% catch rate. However, if you are holding that against him, it's very difficult to do so, considering that he was surrounded by Kansas City Chiefs backups during a game where they were playing the Broncos starters, and the Broncos had a good defense. Now, I have Mecole Hardman's numbers here. Why? Not because I am trying to pick on Mecole Hardman, but because if you take Rashee Rice out of things, because Rashee Rice got injured very early in the season, the 5th wide receiver by receptions for the Kansas City Chiefs in the 2024 season was Mecole Hardman. That's number 5. Probably, if you're the Chiefs, you want to carry 5 wide receivers. They've carried more than that. They've carried less than that. But I'm saying standard issue roster building. 5 wide receivers, maybe 6. The number 5 guy for the Chiefs this year appeared in 12 games, made 12 receptions for 90 yards and 7.5 yard average. There is no doubt in my mind that Nikko Remigio, being the 5th option for the Kansas City Chiefs, would be able to put up 90 yards receiving on a season. So, here is where I want to take this video, where I want to take this commentary. It is my belief that next season Nikko Remigio will be on the active roster. Now, he was brought up from the practice squad, so he'll have to sign another year. He'll have to sign another contract. Will he have real offers in other places? I think it depends on the Super Bowl. It might be that Nikko Remigio jumps straight from the practice squad onto the playoff roster and signs somewhere else and is out the door before next season. I don't think that will be the case, but it is a distinct possibility, especially with all of the personnel and coaching moves likely to happen in this offseason where people will be bit and piecing the Kansas City Chiefs. People who have been in the building know who Nikko Remigio is. Should he be the number 4 or 5 wide receiver next year? I think he adds immediate upside at that position. Then what you have is Xavier Worthy, who's going to be a long-term solution, probably the number 2 wide receiver. Rashee Rice, who will serve a suspension at some point, probably a number 1 wide receiver. Then what do you have if you're the Kansas City Chiefs? What do you know that you have if you were the Kansas City Chiefs? At this point, it is nada. Hollywood's gone. Justin Watson's gone. Juju's gone. Mecole Hardman gone. All of the stuff they have in their wide receiver core is young. DeAndre Hopkins gone. All of these names are gone next season. This could be the perfect time for someone like Nikko Remigio to emerge from the depths of the practice squad and become a reliable veteran at this point. He will have been in the NFL 3 years next year. Next year will be his 3rd, and that's kind of what you start looking at when you start calling someone a veteran. Nikko Remigio adds genuine upside to the offense. Nikko Remigio is a slippery type of wide receiver. We have now seen this on multiple returns in the NFL. Are you facing starting level defenders while your running back returns in the NFL? No, not really. But he's done it time and again, outclassing the special teams for other teams. In my opinion, heading into next year, the number 4, number 5 wide receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs is under lock and key. It will be Nikko Remigio. Meaning the Kansas City Chiefs will still have 2 or 3 spots where they have to find someone to play. I think it's very likely, especially given the fact that Rashee Rice is going to miss a portion of next year. I think that it is very likely that Brett Veach pulls the trigger on a wide receiver in a wide receiver class that is looking like it's shaping up to be an underrated one. The interesting thing will be, what kind of wide receivers does Brett Veach target in the draft? What kind of wide receiver does Brett Veach target in free agency? And how much wiggle room does Nikko Remigio have to move up the roster come time for training camp? We have seen him time and again in the preseason be the type of guy who's able to go out there and make a play. Like I said about Nikko Remigio last preseason, the interesting thing to me about him is not his physical tools. Obviously, you can walk down the street and find a physical Nikko Remigio. The thing that gets me about Nikko is that he is selling out for the catch first. A couple seasons ago, the Kansas City Chiefs had terrible issues with drops, and we know very well how devastating that can be for an offense. Having all of a sudden all of the momentum taken away because a perfectly placed ball from Patrick Mahomes was simply laid on the turf. What I will offer is that at times, Nikko Remigio will sacrifice run after the catch, for ensuring the catch. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that makes you a security blanket for Patrick Mahomes. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Kansas City Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And I hope to have you back for the next one.